Well, almost like in the manual. But if seriously, moving a subboard with a motor and electronic speed control will be challenging. But challenging doesn't mean impossible. I just need to break the project into baby steps. I have a subboard and I want to move it with a submerged motor and propeller. The motor should be powered and controlled by something placed above the water. The rider should control the speed of this engine. Easy peasy. I'll start with a hand throttle. There are a lot of ways to make a smooth power adjustment for an electric motor. The first one is using a potentiometer. If I rotate the shaft, you can see that the output voltage varies from 0 to 3.3 volts. However, due to its shape, I found it challenging to make it waterproof. Without proper waterproofing, exposure to water will lead to a short circuit. If you don't believe me, I'll drop it into water. As you can see, the output is no longer zero. It happens because water conducts electricity, meaning that if it falls into water with a rider, the motor will keep running indefinitely. Okay, to be fair, I made the water very salty to increase conduction. But honestly, the main reason I'm ditching the potentiometer is too boring to use it. And what is the best option that I have? It's magnets! Magneto was even able to defeat Wolverine with his magnetic powers, so I shouldn't have any issues building a throttle pedal either, and the Hall sensor will help me with that. In a nutshell, the sensor changes the resistance based on the distance to a magnet. But don't make the same mistake that I did. I bought a digital one which can only detect if a magnet is nearby or not. It cannot measure the distance to the magnet, which is crucial for my needs. Back to Amazon and order a correct sensor. The analog sensor smoothly changes resistance based on the distance between the magnet and the Hall sensor. I designed this button to hold the magnet in the center slot and move along the rails. The Hall sensor will be attached to the bottom part, and a pair of strings will ensure that the button returns to its original position. The Hall sensor has a special place on the plate. It will securely stay there forever. But first I soldered the Hall sensor to the cable. Additionally, I added a switch for an extra layer of security, in case if something goes wrong. I aim to make the electronic components waterproof, so I'm coating the Hall sensor on the plate with epoxy. And of course I'm applying several layers to ensure that no connections are exposed to water. The last step is to assemble the throttle controller. First, I'm inserting a magnet into a placeholder. Second, I'm putting the mechanism into the cover. And the last thing is to screw it tight. The case itself isn't meant to be waterproof. The water test shows no issues. I must remember not to ride under high voltage wires or near strong magnets, and everything should be fine. And real test shows awesome results. If you are curious how it works, it's time to move on to the next step. Electronic components and their relation. Okay, I have this schematic which has two parts, one submerged and one above water. I use two LiPo 6S batteries. The electricity flows from them to the electronic speed control board, which powers the ESP32. The ESP32 sends 3.3 volts to the Hall sensor and receives from 1.6 to 2.2 volts back, depending on the proximity of the magnet. Based on this, the ESP32 determines the speed and sends a pulse width modulation signal to the ESC. Finally, the ESC starts rotating the electric motor. Are you still there? Sorry, I didn't mean to be that boring. It's time to design a propeller and a lower unit. Smart people would have researched and found the most suitable propeller design, with the optimal pitch and number of blades. But that's not what I want. I want to have fun, which is why I'm sketching an aggressive 3-blade 30-degree propeller. The remaining task is to find a place for it, and the answer is obvious. All subs have one or more hydrofoils on their bottom. It would be foolish not to use that spot for the lower unit. With the design I was inspired by an airplane turbine. I know air and water behave differently, but aren't we supposed to dream? So after a brief amount of thought I came up with this. Unfortunately, my 3D printer is smaller than my design, so I had to split the lower unit into two parts, one to hold the motor and the other to attach to the sub's hydrofoil. After 24 long hours, everything was ready for assembly. This process actually took a lot of time. But in a nutshell, I added the motor and routed the cables. Then I joined the two parts together. One important detail is that the speed controller is waterproof. I'm not sure that it was designed for a long submersion, but I'll place it underwater and hope it survives. I'm more concerned about cooling than a short circuit. The next step is to secure the motor with an all-thread shaft. The motor can draw up to 120 amperes, so I used a thick to gauge wire between the batteries and the ESC. Soldering all the wires was challenging, but I eventually got it done. The ESC is waterproof, but my connections aren't, so I used a silicone sealant to fix that. I definitely don't want to lose the expensive lower unit, so I made sure to attach it securely. To do that, I sewed a few straps to tie the entire mechanism to the subboard. Now the final test of electronic components. It works perfectly fine, so I'll screw on the propeller. That's so exciting! I'm ready for the open water test in lake. Often, life doesn't care about your plans, so I had to wait a week for the weather to cooperate. It's always darkest before the dawn, and finally the day arrived. After a quick preparation, the sub was almost ready. The first step was attaching the lower unit. I designed these tie-down points to secure it, which I will do. The straps fit perfectly, so I wasn't worried about losing anything. For the upper unit, I designed this box to hold the batteries and the ESP32. It's ugly and not waterproof, but honestly, I didn't have much time for it, so it was the fastest solution. A final test is done. Now I can tighten wires and seal the box with the best material, tape. It's the moment of truth as we move into position. And... nothing. There was no torque at all. I could hear the motor, but all I got was a single splash behind me. The motor shaft is rotating within the propeller due to a loose fit. Initially, I designed the shaft to have a particular shape that would secure the propeller. However, the combination of water resistance and motor power wore it down, turning it entirely round and pushing the screw out of the plastic. Fortunately, I had included a special slot for a nut to provide extra security for the shaft. After inserting the nut and tightening everything, I was ready for a second attempt. With a push, the motor started but quickly went silent. Another push, silence again. And then this happened.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
And the answer is quite simple. In the dry box everything seemed fine. But it became clear that the electronic speed controller had burnt out under the water. There was no way to repair it, leaving me feeling defeated as I headed home. Why did it happen? Smart people would have researched and found the most suitable propeller design. Because I was dumb. With each revolution it wants to push a lot of water. And even this tiny jolt of a heavy rider requires a lot of current. The electronic speed controller tried to handle it but overheated almost immediately. This is what happened inside the ESC. It completely burnt out and no parts survived. Looking at both motors, I noticed that almost all of them have two blades and a slight pitch. So I have two options, either to buy a more powerful controller or design a less aggressive propeller. And in the design, this turned it into that. Next I followed the same process. Add the motor to the lower unit, screw it in tightly, route the cables, mount the ESC, secure the motor, attach the propeller and run a test. And here is where I made a huge and dangerous mistake. Never ever test a motor with the propeller installed, especially if the blades are facing anyone or anything. This test went smoothly, but sometime later I forgot to remove the propeller and tested it at full throttle. The propeller exploded and made a hole in the table. Fortunately no one was hurt, but I learned that lesson the hard way. And finally the day of truth arrived. The familiar assembly process began. Attach the lower unit, secure it with tie-down straps. By the way, the upper unit was also redesigned. So now I'm not worried about the electronics getting wet. Everything is ready to go. Was it success or failure? Well, it was neither of them. On one hand, I managed to get everything working, but on the other hand, I ended up completely burning out one ESC and damaging another. During the third test, I pushed the ESC to its limit and the back stopped functioning. Now there is no 5 volts output from that controller. The manufacturer wasn't wrong when they said it was designed for a small boat under 135 cm and not to carry a 100 kg rider. So what's next? I might try a more powerful ESC and move it to the upper unit. But that will have to wait until next year. The winter is coming. Let me know what you think in the comments. By the way, you can find code and links to all components in the description of this video. And please support the channel by subscribing and leaving a like. Stay tuned. Cheers!